guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Stitching Colourist with Shelley Lewis. For today's video I thought I would do a little bit of a colour and chat so I can catch up with you guys, and I thought I would do a colour and chat from the Disney Vitraux. Now the reason why I decided to go with this one is because, as you know, it is the hashtag Disney Colouring 2020 that I'm hosting this month and next for the colour along. And the reason why I'm colouring in this one is because I'm doing a body colour with the lovely Steph from my Facebook group called Keep Calm and Craft. I think she does a YouTube channel, I'm sure she does, and I'm sure I'm actually subscribed to it. So what I'll do is I'll look for a YouTube channel and I'll put it in the descriptions below. She's a lovely girl, and I thought we'd carry on with a picture that I started in here that I've not done much in it because this is the one that we went with. This is the picture that we decided to go with. Yeah, but I haven't done much in it, unfortunately, at the minute, due to circumstances which I will explain to you in this video. This is another reason why I wanted to do the colour and chat, because I wanted to tell you guys. Yeah, there's been a lot going on the past couple of weeks. So I may have mentioned it in a previous video. I can't remember if I mentioned it in my last colour and chat, but a couple of weeks ago, my youngest, my daughter, she'd got like a rash appear on her body. Couldn't figure what it was. I took her to the doctors. The one nurse couldn't figure what it was. She said to use E45 cream because the skin was a bit dry. So, and she said if it didn't improve, then to go back to the doctor. Well, it did not improve. The E45 cream did absolutely nothing, and unfortunately it was causing her a bit of discomfort because she was itching with it as well. It was appearing on her legs, on her arms, and then it started going up the sides of her body. She wasn't getting it on her hands and feet. So I went back to the doctor, and the doctor said it looked like it could be like a hair follicle infection or rash, or a bad case of severe light heat rash. So she gave us some antibiotics and some nice thick. She said to use Avene cream, I think it is. And to see how she got on with that. Glad to say it is a lot better. She's a lot better now with it. So we got that sorted, but unfortunately I think she's coming down with a cold now, because she seemed a bit snuffly yesterday. So yeah. The other thing that's has gone on this past week. Last week I started, well, I'd had it sometime last year. I had swelling down by where your coccyx is, by your tailbone. I had swelling down there, and it was very painful. It wasn't excruciating, but it was very painful to sit down. After a while, it seemed to go on its own, and I just didn't think anything of it. Obviously, like I said, this happened last year. Well, last week I started getting the pain, the swelling again, and pain in the same place, on my tailbone, at the top of the bum. Let's just say at the top of the bum. And oh my god, it was worse than last year. I could not sit down. It was so friggin' painful. I struggled to sit down. The only way that I'd feel comfortable is if I laid down. So I didn't really get much craft or colouring done. and oh god, it was just so painful, and it was really swollen, and I had like a fluid build up on the tailbone area. It had gone really puffy, so I went to the doctors on, I went on Friday to the doctors to have it seen to. The doctor had a check and he said it started leaking. How do I explain it? Yeah, water stuff started coming from it and it started leaking. It was very, very, very painful, to be honest. I'd never really experienced pain like it. So he did a swab of it and he referred me to the hospital next day because he said it looks like I'd got an abscess on my tailbone area, and depending on how bad it was, it looked like I may have to have it drained at the hospital. So he referred me to the hospital. So Saturday morning, you'll know because you saw a picture of the lovely cannula in my hand. So I went to the hospital Saturday morning. Bearing in mind what's going on in the world today, hospitals are the last place you want to be right now. But yeah, they referred me to the hospital. I did normal tests. They put the cannula in my hand. They asked if I'd consent to a COVID test, which, yeah, it's got nothing to do with it. Don't worry, guys, I know. But I said, yeah, definitely I do consent to it, because of obviously having 2 young children, it wouldn't harm to have it done. Yeah, that test never came, because basically they put the cannula in my hand, and I spoke to the nurse, I spoke to the nurse, and she had a look round and she said because it's weeping already, there didn't seem to be a lot. There was still substance. How can I say? I don't want to say pus because it doesn't. Yeah, it sounds disgusting. There was still fluid. Put it that way. There was still fluid there. Some infection fluid. And that I'd probably have to have it cut out and have it drained. So she said, like, put the cannula in and that they'd wait for a bed to open up for me, because she said depending on when I have it done, if I had it done in the daytime, then I'd probably be able to go home that evening. But if they had to do it on the evening, then I'd probably have to have an overnight stay. So I'd already prepared for this, so I did actually take some pyjamas and a bag and word search and a book, because I was preparing for that. So yeah, I had the other test done. They took my bloods. I went in the waiting room, because what they've done now is it looks like they've cleared a ward out and made it into a bigger waiting room with leather chairs, and yeah, they're just not comfortable. Bearing in mind, guys, I said the day before I could hardly sit down because it was painful. Yeah, I went in the waiting room. The anaesthetist came up and he just explained to me what they was going to do. He said they'd have to put me under anaesthetic, so I'd basically have to be put to sleep. So it would be a nap time for me. They'd have to be put to sleep because it's a painful, obviously, procedure. What they'd have to do is cut it, drain it, pack it, all that jazz, and do that. So he went down and I was waiting, and the nurse, fair enough, she did say it could take a while, so I was prepared for that. However, I wasn't prepared for how long. But on the hospital's defence, they had a few emergency surgeries that had to be put before me, which is totally understandable. Well, it had come about 1 o'clock, and I thought, yeah, I'd already been there since 10. It came 1 o'clock, dinner time, and I thought, they are busy, so I'm not going to push it. However, I was in a lot of discomfort because I just couldn't sit down properly because of my back. So I was kind of sat but propping myself on my side. So I was side to side, side to side, side to side. And it was just like that all day. Come the afternoon, evening time, I think it's about 5 o'clock, I thought I'll just mention it, and I spoke to the nurse and I just said, like, do you have any idea when it'll possibly happen, the operation? And this is when she did explain to me that there'll be like there's emergencies and that. I said that's not a problem, because obviously it comes before me. I said, however, I am in a lot of discomfort because of sitting down, and I'm in agony. I'm in agony. So, unfortunately, though, because they didn't have any beds, there weren't no spare beds, there wasn't much they could do about that. But she said she could get me a pillow. She said if that helps. She was very sympathetic, and I just said, yeah, it'll help a little bit. So she did get me a pillow for the chair, and yeah, I was still a lot uncomfortable because, like I said, where the problem was, I was still uncomfortable, but it kind of eased it ever so slightly. Thankfully, the pain wasn't as bad as the day before, because if it was like that, I would not have been able to cope with it. But yeah, no, this was come about 7 o'clock now. It must have been 7 o'clock, and yeah, bearing in mind I've been there since 10 o'clock in the morning. It's still in the same room. I just said to her, I said, I'm really sorry, but I said, is there any chance like I can drink water, because it was nil by mouth because of the operation? And she said, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to, and I'd had nothing to eat or drink since the night before. But she said, however, we can pop you a dripping, because obviously going that long without anything at all, even water, is not good for your health. So she put me on a drip. So I sat there in a chair with my drip in my hand. There was another lady I was started talking to as well, so I wasn't completely alone. But yeah, and like later on, the nurses that were in the room agreed that they would have a word to see what was going to happen, because they said it does take a long time, but this was unusually long. This was way long because of how long I'd been there for. So they had a word, and I was just waiting for the doctor to come up, and I ended up watching God knows how many episodes of cooking food. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, typical, isn't it? I can't eat or drink at all, and what's on the TV? Cooking channels with bread pudding and everything. So I was like, oh gosh. Then Midsummer Murders came on, I was watching that. Then I was watching, I think it was a chase or a program. I was watching something. So yeah, sorry guys, you're not going to be able to see my hand down here. So yeah, I was watching cooking channels, absolutely starving, really thirsty. And at 7:45, the doctor finally came up, and he just sat down. He was apologetic. He said, I'm really sorry. He said, but we've just had one thing like after another coming up, and then there was emergencies, and I just explained to him, I said, it's not a problem, because obviously it happens, there are emergencies happens. But beforehand, when I'd spoke to the nurse, she mentioned about me going home and coming back the next day. And yeah, I wasn't shitty. I just turned around and I said, I'm really sorry, but because I've got my husband at home and my children, they all needed me because I'm my husband's carer, because he doesn't get out the house. My children are at school on Monday, so I'm very sorry, but if I'm going home, I'm staying at home, because I said today I've been in that. It has been very uncomfortable to sit in the chairs. I understand that there was emergencies, but I just can't do it again. And when I spoke to the doctor later, the anaesthetist, I kind of explained the same thing. I just said, like, because he mentioned about coming, because he said unfortunately they wouldn't be able to do the operation. And he mentioned about, I just got to shake my pen. He mentioned about coming back the next day, and I just said I'm really sorry, and I did explain to him about my home commitments, and I said it's just a bit awkward at the minute, obviously with my children and my husband at home that needs looking after. So they just said, like, to go home, and they'd ring me the next day. So yeah, I was at the hospital all day from 10 o'clock with a cannula in my hand, being put on a drip, all for nothing. I didn't end up having the surgery done. I think the nurses, bless them, felt really sorry for me, because the one nurse, she said, well, where do you live? And I explained to her, and she says, well, if you want, she said, I can drop you off. If you're okay to wait a couple of minutes, I can drop you off home. And I just said, it's okay, because I've obviously, for one, I wanted to get out of there because I was tired, I was uncomfortable, I desperately needed a drink and some food, and obviously with the current situation, I didn't want to get the nurse in trouble. Because obviously you can't really mix, can you, and especially in cars, so I didn't want to get her in trouble. So I just said it's alright, I'll just get the taxi, like I always do when I'm travelling places. So yeah, I got the taxi. They did offer me a cup of tea before I went, but I kindly declined because I thought I just wanted to go home. I wanted to go home. I thought it's been uncomfortable. I just want my own home comforts now. So I just said it's okay. I'll just grab a drink when I go home. So yeah, I think I got the taxi. I got home at about 8:15, 8:30. Oh, and the first thing, one in the house, my husband had a brew ready for me, because he was worrying all day about me as well, especially on top of his anxiety. It didn't help. So, and he was just glad to have me back. He said, I've been texting him and that, but he was really worried about me, especially being in that discomfort. But I said I was alright, but he had a brew waiting for me when I got back, and I went and got comfortable, took my antibiotics, and bless his heart, he made me some food. And then the next day, because obviously the nurse told me beforehand, for the next day she said, don't have breakfast just in case you come back up and we can get you in and out the same day. So I didn't have any breakfast, and I kept my overnight bag ready on the Sunday just in case I was called up. And in the morning, they said they'd ring in the morning, but I hadn't heard anything. And I said to Sire, my husband, I said, if they haven't called me by 1 o'clock, I'm going to eat and drink something, because again, going all day without food, and if we was unsure, it's not going to do health any good. So 1 o'clock come, didn't hear anything, so I thought I'm just going to have something to eat and a drink. I'm sorry, but I thought if they was going to do it, they would have done it, really would have called up by now. So I just finished eating, and they actually called me up, and I spoke to the head doctor, and he said, because he apologised again, he said, because of the problem at the minute with not being able to fit me into surgery and with home commitments, he said he thinks the best thing to do is to continue with the antibiotics, complete the course, and to see how I go from there. If I'm still in pain and I've still got the fluid there, then to obviously go back to my doctor, and the doctor will probably re-refer me again, so I'll probably end up at stage 1 again. However, since being on the antibiotics now, the pain, I've not really got any pain at all now. The swelling has gone down a lot. The swelling's not as bad. It is, the only thing is I can still feel fluid on my backside. By the tailbone, I can still feel fluid there, so it's not gone completely. So I'm just going to see how it goes, see how I get on, and it's a good sign that there's no pain now. But I'm trying to take it easy. I'm doing my crafts, so I just can't go without it. But I am kind of spacing it out a little bit more, so I have not got a lot of colouring done. I've been doing a bit of stitching because I can prop myself on my side when I'm doing that. So that's what I'm doing a lot at the minute. So that's why I thought I would do the colouring chat with you guys, so I can get some progress done on this picture. So fingers crossed, I hopefully will be on the mend, and hopefully I don't have to go back to hospital to have it drained. The only problem is, with it not being drained, there's a possibility it could come back, and I'll probably be back to square one again. It's just one of them things. Hospital can't help it. I can't help it. Nobody can help it. So yeah, that's what's been going on this weekend. But thankfully, like I said, I'm not in the pain that I was in last week. Oh my god, that was just a lot. It was a lot. So yeah, that's what's been going on in my life update. Very interesting. I don't want to feel like I'm complaining in the video, but I just wanted to explain to you guys what's been going on, why I probably haven't posted a lot of colouring pictures on my Instagram, because I've not been able to colour much. I'm just trying to do bit by bit. So yeah, how are you guys? How are you all? I hope you're doing all well. I know the situation at the minute with what's going on is not perfect, but we just have to live what we can. We just have to live with it basically, and adapt to the new changes until told otherwise, unfortunately. But saying that, it doesn't help people that are working at the minute. But yeah, won't go into all of that, because this channel is supposed to cheer people up, and so far I've been telling you all about an abscess on my backside. Oh, it's painful. Do you know, they said that sometimes ingrowing hairs can cause them. I was shocked because I didn't think that something like that could cause that amount of pain and discomfort, but it can. So we're up to 23 minutes. So I'm going to have to leave it here for now, because yeah, my memory on my phone doesn't like to last that long, and not to mention it's not good for me to sit on my bum for too long. I have to move about. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for all your lovely comments and everything, and your well wishes on Instagram and here as well. It really do mean a lot. I have read them, and I think I've replied to them all, so I just want to say thank you so much to that. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll be good. We'll be good. We'll get there in the end. It's just one of them things. One of them things that life throws at you, isn't it? So, just do this little square, guys, and then I shall leave it there. I feel like, oh bugger, put it in the wrong place. I feel like I haven't done that much. I've only finished the black thing, black outlining, and then just put a bit of gold in. I'm trying to put a bit of everything on this picture. I'm using Pentel markers. I used a Posca paint for the black. Now I'm using metallic for the insides. Getting all that done, and then when I've done that, I shall be working in the middle. So guys, it's been a very quick colouring chat. I apologise about that, but guys, as soon as we get to that 1,000 subscribers, I can do live colouring chats then, and I can actually get a picture finished on camera. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have enjoyed the video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, then please feel free to press that subscribe button and the notification so you'll be notified of when I bring another video out. And as I said before, I do want to thank you guys for all your love and support. It really does mean a lot. I love reading all your comments. I often sit there either when I've got a quiet 5 minutes or a night, and I'll just have a look through the comments and then I'll start replying to them. Yeah, I'll try and find out my friend's YouTube name and I'll put it in the descriptions below. I know she's Steph on the colouring channel that I've got, which is Keep Calm and Craft. So it's a buddy colour that I'm doing with her. So yeah, I will do that for you guys. I'm going to get going. Going to put my feet up for a bit before I get ready to get the kids from school. So thank you very much, and I shall see you again soon. So goodbye for now, guys. Bye.